Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. The Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to Movie Film. This is episode 144, brought to you by Mr. Boy Productions. My name is Zachy Hassan, and I am here once again with my friend Brian Hall.
Hey, what's up, Zachy?
Not much. It feels like it's been a little while. I think it has, right?
Yeah, that's what I couldn't remember, because it was definitely a while between the previous one and the one before that.
Well, regardless, we're here now.
Yeah.
That's all that matters, so stop your complaining.
Yeah.
Person.
Yeah,
stop your
Jeff.
complaining, Donnie. That one guy out there.
Yeah.
But lots of stuff to talk about, Brian.
Yeah, we got a lot to catch up, and it looks, looking at our document here, it looks like we've watched a lot, too.
We've kept busy. We've been delving into the back catalog, it feels like.
Yeah.
You know, but before we get into the stuff we watched, I should mention that I took the opportunity in the last week to say farewell to a friend who's going to be leaving us soon.
Yeah.
I popped into Toys R Us.
Yeah.
For the last time. What a weird thing to say.
I know. I mean, I don't have kids, so I haven't been in one in a long time.
Sure.
But I passed one going to work a lot, and it's just one of those things where they're ubiquitous, right? I mean, like they were the toy store for us when we were kids. If you wanted anything, if you wanted a video game, if you wanted, well, from bikes to trains to video games, it was the greatest toy store there was. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, kind of a weird. I was telling you when we were talking about it over text that it's weird that Toys R Us will become like Woolworths to your kids.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, totally. Or if we want to go like deep dive into Chicago, like Venture.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You know.
Yeah.
Or I was just reminiscing about like all the old department stores that no longer exist, like Zayre and like all the stuff that was around when we were kids. Do you remember Zayre?
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
But it was weird to walk in there. I mean, the truth of it is, a lot of people are sad about it, and I mean, bottom line, I can speak from my own experience. When I would go to Toys R Us, what I would do is I would see how much the toy was at Toys R Us, and then I would take out my phone, and I would go to the Amazon app, and I'd be like, oh, it's $20 cheaper at Amazon, and I would order it in store from Amazon while I was at Toys R Us. You know, so
yeah.
I mean, that's the reason. So let's shed no tears for, I mean, the wheels of capitalism working, I would guess, the way they're supposed to. But really what makes us sad is it's the memories.
Yeah, and also I think it's interesting, I don't know, to mention that its founder, Charles Lazarus, died days after the chain said it was closing.
You think he died like of a broken heart?
I don't know. You know, I don't know. It's like I'm like feeling like I want to start making jokes, and I'm looking at a picture of him, so I'm going to refrain. About Jeffrey being at his bedside and all that. But yeah. I mean, I remember lots of things from that, but in particular, the one that really comes to mind and regenerates a feeling in my chest was going to get a Nintendo game.
Oh,
and,
sure.
You know, we were one of those families, like we had a couple of Nintendo games, never as much as all the other neighborhood kids. And so it was really special when we got a game. We'd either get one for Christmas or we'd get to pick one out, I don't know, when a birthday or something. And you'd walk down this aisle and it was all these little plastic flaps with these little paper tickets inside.
Yes,
that's
right.
So it was just a wall of pictures of all the boxes, the covers of all the Nintendo games.
I forgot about that. How funny.
The one in particular.
There was like a locked room that they would get them from.
Yes, exactly. So, well, the one in particular I remember getting was Super Mario 3, because that was new, and we were getting a brand new Nintendo game when it was new, and I was really excited. And you take the paper ticket out of the thing, and you'd go over to this cage. Remember that? It was like a cage closet, sort of like at a casino.
Near the front.
Yeah, and then there was just all these Nintendo games behind this kid, and then you give them the piece of paper, and they give you the game. So, yeah, I don't know. That's going to be tucked away in my heart there. So.
Yeah, you know, for me, my fondest memories are during like the He-Man era. because I just remember being, 3 years old, and we went and we bought He-Man and Skeletor, and we moved to Saudi Arabia when I was 3, but every summer we would come back to the States, and that was the thing that I waited for. Like, basically from the time we got on the plane, I'm like, when are we going to go to Toys R Us? When are we going to, and it was like, we would stay with my uncle who lived in Orland Park, and so it was just right. Like, we would pass the Toys R Us on the way to their house, and I would just kind of have my face pressed to the window as we drove by the TRU,
Mm-hmm.
And, I was telling my wife this. I was like, I still remember the smell. Like, the door would open, you walk in, and just the smell of Toys R Us.
Yeah.
And you talk about powerful sense memory. That's my memory. And it's something I don't know what my kids' memories of Toys R Us will be, but I mean, for me, like you said, I mean, that's something special that's just like tucked away, and maybe it's just for me, I guess.
Yeah, maybe for your two oldest, it'll be sort of like us in Venture. I mean, Venture went a little bit older for us, but I remember it, but it's fleeting.
Yes. Yeah. But digging into some of the stuff I've seen recently, again, we're diving deep into the memory hole here. I screened The Matrix for my students, and this was an interesting one because I was very curious how modern students would interface with this film that was so brand new and so revolutionary when we were kids.
Mm-hmm. And it's like 20 years old now, almost.
It's 19 years old. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I thought their reactions were about what I expected, but what was interesting was, to me, they were laughing at the lovey-dovey stuff.
Interesting.
And it's funny because I definitely see it from their perspective. Like all the kung fu and all the effects and everything, that still totally works. But the stuff that they sort of push back against is I'm supposed to be in love with the one, and I'm in love with you, and you're the one, I guess. And this whole thing, while the ship is like being torn apart. Remember that?
Oh yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's never fazed me.
It didn't bump me either. You know? But seeing it from their perspective is very interesting, and that's what they were talking about. Like, it felt very cheesy. That was the common refrain.
I get that. I remember that especially in the second one, actually, where she has to start his heart again.
Yes,
and that one being a little more corny, but
you know what struck me watching, and I haven't seen the Matrix in a little while. Given the Wachowskis' transition, both of them having transitioned, you can see sort of even in the Matrix how they plug in insofar as gender fluidity goes.
Interesting.
Because when you look at Neo and Trinity, they are both sort of androgynous.
Huh. Yeah, I see it now that you say that. I've never really thought about it.
And really, like, Trinity is more sort of quote-unquote masculine than Neo, Right. But you put the two of them together, you look at them from a distance, they look kind of the same.
Yeah. That's interesting.
And again, this is solely now with what we know, sort of the gendered struggle that the Wachowskis went through. They were already plugging in with that back then,
Yeah.
So I just thought that was interesting anyway. That was just an observation.
Yeah. You know what? Replaying the film in my mind now a little bit, it makes me wonder, too. I'm trying to think of when I was 20, if I was watching a movie that was 20 years old, right? So it'd be like 1980. Those would look older. And now, within reason, I mean, a movie from 1999 has been shot on, something that's been well preserved, that's on Blu-ray, that's been remastered. And I wonder, does it look old to kids now? Like if you know what I mean? Like if I was 20 and to watch a movie that was 20 years old, the movie would probably look really old because things just looked faded and washed out. And
well, you know what I think works in that film's advantage is the way in which they shot it in terms of the storyboarding and stuff, where it has a very stylized approach that sort of sets it outside of time, and that above and beyond like bullet time and stuff like that, just the framing and things are very far-sighted,
Yeah.
And I think that helps,
Yeah. Man, you get to pull all these interesting experiments with your students. You know, like, what do you think of this movie? I'm just curious. You know?
I mean, I've been doing that. It's been really fun, just sort of seeing their reactions. And I've said this before, but I mean, they're plugging in with these films in very intelligent ways, which I've been very appreciative of.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Another movie I saw this time with my oldest, Gremlins 2.
Yeah.
Now, you might remember I revisited the first Gremlins a couple months ago. It was just me and the boy. You know, my wife had taken the other ones out, so I was like, "Hey, let's watch Gremlins 2," because he's old enough where he won't get freaked out by it.
Mm-hmm,
And I have not seen this movie since 1990.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well,
Yeah,
now I want to hear both your thoughts.
Well, I mean, he liked it. He thought it was really funny. I was like, "Which one do you like better?" He's like, "I liked them both." But I loved the satire. I mean, it's the Not Another Gremlins movie of the Gremlins franchise.
Right.
You know?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
It's really funny. I mean, the gags are very clever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, little stuff like where the one gremlin gets caught in the cement and becomes a gargoyle. That's pretty funny.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But more than that, I mean, it's Joe Dante sort of critiquing the need for a sequel.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
It's been a while since I've seen it. I think for me, I saw the first one first, and I really liked it. And then I saw that one when I was a little older, so I was like, "What is happening?"
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the right reaction, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And I know most people seem to really like it. And I was thinking about when you told me that you'd watched it with your son, and I was thinking of his age. I'm like, oh, he's going to love it. You know, I think especially at a certain age, like it's like a Looney Tunes cartoon.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? You just sort of like, oh, well, this is the Gremlin sequel that's being presented to me. Like when I was younger, I would just take the things that were presented to me and be like, yeah, this is the sequel to the thing, and this is what it is. And I think when I was older, I was like, oh, no, I wanted something a little bit more about the town and a little more, not serious, but I wanted Gremlins 1 again, I guess, as an adult.
And when you think about it, like, I think Dante was probably like, what are we going to do that's just not going to be the same old thing? You know?
And I think he's right, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, now I can appreciate. It's sort of like I had like a thing, and then I've come around. Like I get it now, I guess. When I first saw it,
I'll tell you what the biggest laugh for me in the whole movie. First of all, John Glover is great as the Donald Trump, fill-in character.
Yeah.
But there's a bit where Phoebe Cates, like somebody mentions Abraham Lincoln, she's like, "Don't talk to me about Abraham Lincoln." Like I had this thing happen to me, like I met a guy dressed like Abraham Lincoln as a kid or something like that. And it's clearly Joe Dante. Like I don't know, like is he making fun of that emotional moment in the first movie,
Right.
in his own movie? Like I love the chutzpah of that.
Yeah. Yeah. You put it really well. I've never thought of it. It's like the Not Another Teen movie in its own, made by its own franchise.
Yeah, it's sort of. I
That's
mean,
funny.
it reminds me of the canceled Jaws sequel, which I think I've mentioned to you. Right, the original plan was that the third Jaws, instead of doing Jaws 3D, it was going to be National Lampoon's Jaws 3 People 0.
Right.
You know, and then they decided, no, we don't want to ruin the franchise, and they did it anyway. But kind of like that, you know. And I remember a couple years ago they were talking about doing another Gremlins, and I'm like, if you can't have Joe Dante do it, then don't do it. You know?
Right.
And one last thing, and I want to mention this specifically just for our dear departed friend Sean Coyle, departed from this show, not from this earth. Sean Coyle. I've started watching Hawaii Five-0.
Oh.
And I mention this only because Sean is a ravenous fan of that series, the current series, not the
CBS
70s
series.
and 80s ones. And I'll be damned if I haven't gotten hooked on that show. So Sean's been on my case, like, you got to watch Hawaii Five-0. It's really good, and it's filling that itch, you know, the itch you get for like a one and done procedural show.
Yeah, kind of like Lethal Weapon.
Kind of like Lethal Weapon, yeah. So I've been enjoying Hawaii Five-0. It's been on for 8 seasons, which is
Wow.
A testament to how we really need to create a procedural show and then just retire.
Yeah, seriously.
Because damn.
Yeah.
It's funny because people, like when the MacGyver reboot happened, people were like, why are they doing this? And this Magnum PI reboot, why are they doing this? And I'm looking at this, I'm like, they're doing it because Hawaii Five-O's been on for 8, going on 9 seasons.
Yeah, like, come on, man, don't you want a boat?
I would like a new house. That sounds nice.
Don't you want your kids to go to private school? Come on.
Yeah, be realistic, Let's get working on our reboot of oh damn, I don't know.
Yeah,
they
if we say it, it's going to happen. So maybe we need to keep it close to the vest.
Yeah, that's true. Shh. Good point.
I'll say it. Small Wonder.
What have you seen?
But as a procedural, I don't even know. I watched Wes Anderson's latest movie, Isle of Dogs.
Now, I should point out that I'd been hearing about this movie forever, but it was only recently that I figured out that the title is a pun.
Yes, someone had to point that out to me too. I did not. I think because I've been reading it so much,
right,
and not saying it. But it's like, oh,
of Dogs or I Love Dogs.
Yeah, yeah. Which I like that. I should start out by saying that I am a Wes Anderson fan. And I was at a screening of something else the other night, and someone asked, "Do you have to be a Wes Anderson fan to enjoy this movie?" And I said, "It helps."
This is a stop motion in the vein of Fantastic
Mr. Fox, exactly, and it's set in a futuristic Japan, maybe like 20 years in the future, and there's a dog flu basically going around, and so they are going to get rid of all dogs, and they send them to this like trash dump island kind of thing to fend for themselves so humans can, not get sick. And then the story begins with this boy waking up from a coma and realizing his dog's been sent to this island. So he gets in a plane, crash lands on this island, and he's on a mission to find his dog because he loves his dog. And I really enjoyed it. It's very cute. It's one of those movies where it starts off, like I say, where I think your appreciation for Wes Anderson helps because it is very oddly quiet. Like it really enjoys all that center framing, and like you have to be comfortable with beats of silence that are sort of for punchlines and quirkiness. But then, about halfway through or whatever, like it really kicks into gear, like the action and the adventure part of it, and it becomes like quite a thrilling, quirky, funny little adventure.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and I even teared up, I think, twice.
Wow.
During it, yeah, and I think it helps that I'm a dog person. I don't know. I saw it with a fellow dog person, and Bryan Cranston plays essentially the hero or the lead character, I should say, of the dogs. The other dogs are voiced by Edward Norton, Bob Balaban, Bill Murray, Jeff Goldblum. So you can imagine the sort of Wes Anderson-y doggy banter, like, yeah, kind of thinking these dogs,
yeah, exactly,
conferring with each other, but. Yeah, it becomes this fun little adventure, and you really get invested in the relationships with people and dogs, and it's very endearing and very goofy and very Wes Anderson-y. And
so Cranston is the lead dog.
Yeah, the other dogs were house dogs or house pets, and he plays a stray.
He's
and
like
so he bonds with them over there, but he also kind of can't relate to them because he's like, I don't sit. I don't believe in masters and whatnot. And then, I don't want to get too into it. But of course, he forms a relationship with this boy, and it's very cute. It's very. But I was thinking about it because my parents love dogs, and I was like, would my parents be able to watch this movie? And I was like, I don't know. I really do feel like they would be like, what? Like they would find certain parts of it endearing and quirky because they just inevitably are. But I wonder if they would struggle a little bit with its tone or its quirkiness or its. I don't know. Maybe I'm not giving them enough credit, but like I just I wonder. I really do wonder. I saw it with the right person, and I'd be curious to see it with someone who didn't know, like thought they were just going to see a children's movie, and we're like, huh?
Okay.
But that's not a ding against it. It's just I love that it's proudly what it is. But that's why I just give the caveat, like if you enjoy sort of that quirky Wes Anderson style, then I think people will definitely enjoy it.
Okay.
And then I also saw a movie that I really was not on my radar at all, but I saw A Quiet Place.
Yeah, the reviews for this are just astonishing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hesitant to like talk about it at all. I had no idea what this movie was even about. I knew it was directed by John Krasinski, starring his wife Emily Blunt, and I went to a press screening thing with a friend of mine, and I intentionally then, once I knew I was going, didn't look anything up. And man, I enjoyed the crap out of this movie.
So maybe just leave it at there.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go probably a little even a step back from the trailers, but I will say it's about a family. Okay, I'll say this. When I walked out, I was like, this is what we were all hoping would continue to happen with M. Night Shyamalan. This feels like a lost M. Night Shyamalan
that's
movie.
interesting.
Yeah, it's about a family, and they're living in a reality, a realistic reality, but like, well, never mind, not realistic, but like a grounded reality where there are monsters and they can only hunt by sound. So basically, you have to be quiet all the time. And so, it's his family, and they have 2 young kids, and their problems will arise. But they never go really into what the monsters are about. It's just a thing that is. And it's really more about the family and how they survive and how they deal with each other. And that's where I think the Shyamalan thing comes from. Like, it's just enough creepiness, and it's just enough of this otherworldliness, but it's really equally, if not more, about the people, and the people are really interesting.
Okay.
And also there are some really great set pieces that are very clever, and I mean, it's amazing. This is John Krasinski's first movie. I mean, it's very well done. So I definitely recommend
I've
A
heard
Quiet
a
Place.
lot of praise for his directing.
Yeah. I mean, it's very confident and what's the word? Well, I guess confident, because he knows when to do enough and when to hold back a little bit. And
kind of a Jordan Peele Get Out situation.
Yeah. I mean, the suspense is really cool, and the scenario. That's the thing too, because you have this interesting idea, and then you sometimes leave a movie like, they kind of broke the rules here, or I wish they had. It would have been cool if. And I felt like this movie did a really good job of covering all those bases and be like, that was a great idea. The way they handled that. And
nice.
it's PG-13. It feels like Shyamalan-y, you know what I mean? Where it's tense, but it's not graphic or anything. And just a cool little thriller. Yeah, definitely recommend it. Oh, and if you buy popcorn, you're going to feel a little awkward because the movie is very quiet.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, it's because it's A Quiet Place.
Yeah.
And then what's the best thing you've seen?
I'm just going to give a quick shout out to the new HBO show Barry, starring Bill Hader, and co-created with him and Alec Berg. And it's basically the log line from IMDb here is: a hitman from the Midwest moves to Los Angeles and gets caught up in the city's theater art scene. And I was a little skeptical about this. Anytime I hear about a movie and a hitman, you're sort of like, it's like a hitman becomes a kindergarten teacher, or like a hitman becomes a painter, like, but I really love Bill Hader, and so I watched it strictly for him, and I really enjoyed this movie. What's that? Or
friend of the show, Bill Hader.
Friend of the show, and I was very surprised. Even when it started, I was like, yeah, I get it. Like, the violence is very real and graphic, and it's going to be kind of funny too, and whatever. But it strikes a tone very well, and that's what it is. Like, the violence is real, but it's only to help you understand why this person would be drawn to something where he gets to lose himself. And the comedy isn't played for like yuck kind of comedy. Like, it's sort of this real dropping this serious person into these sort of more lighthearted arena thing, and just seeing how he responds to that. And it's very compelling, and it's 30 minutes. And there's only been 2 episodes, and both times when it ended, I went, what? Because I was just not ready to exit the world yet. So
that's a good thing.
I watched the other one the other day, and I did the same thing. I was like, nah, what? Like, it just started. Like, I thought it was 15 minutes in. So I was like, this is worth mentioning. This
is it a half-hour show?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I almost regret that it's not a Netflix show, so I could watch it all at once.
Well, that's high praise.
Yeah. So.
Well, moving on, we have a couple listener letters here, Brian. So let's dive into the mailbag. This is from John Trumbull, and really, there's one theme to our listener letters this time, which says we may have touched a nerve, I guess.
Oh.
John Trumbull writes, catching up on the Movie Film Podcast, and holy crap, Gladiator era Russell Crowe as Orion in The New Gods is perfect. That's one of those casting suggestions you hear that is just so perfect right when you hear it, and you resent that they never made it, like Basil Rathbone as the Shadow.
Well, I'm going to say I disagree.
Yeah, well, I'm going to say you're wrong, Brian. Guy who doesn't know anything about the stuff, and I had to explain it to you. Which, by the way, that segues into our next letter, and this is from Rob Kelly, who says, a solid episode as usual, but my favorite part, hands down, was Zachy trying to explain the fourth world stuff to Brian, who sounded very unsure about the whole damn thing. I recognize the tone from my girlfriend.
That is really funny. But
yeah,
you
I had
sold me
flop
on
sweat.
it.
I
Wait,
had
what?
flop sweat streaming down my face.
I love it. I love it. Trying to explain to Brian, who sounded very unsure about the whole damn thing.
I'm like, no, this is great. I swear, you know.
No, by the end of it, I was like, well, how has this not been a movie? Yeah.
See, and one thing I forgot to mention is, they exchanged the sons, right? So, Highfather's son, so the good guy's son, he's raised on Apocalypse, but he doesn't turn into a bad guy. He's like raised in the ghetto, and then he escapes to Earth, and he becomes the superhero Mr. Miracle, who joins the Justice League. So it's like he has his own separate story that's all connected and tied in with all this stuff.
Right.
So there. So it's cool, Brian. Shut up.
I believe you. I'll have to find something and order it. Like, catch myself up.
Well, this might, if you're looking for something that sort of boils it down, this is from Mike Zummo, who says, great episode. I'm going to comment on the New Gods stuff here, too. Well, why not, Mike? Everybody else is doing it.
Yeah.
I've been thinking since Justice League, the movie, there kind of needs to be a New Gods movie, because if you were to bring Darkseid in, eventually you'd have to do a whole movie's worth of exposition just so people know what the hell is going on. I find it concerning they gave it to the Wrinkle in Time director. She just made a mess of one big budget film. Let's give her another. But that's WB in a nutshell. Also, as for your recommendations for Justice League animated New God stuff, best episodes actually predate that. And this is true, actually. I didn't think about this. I would encourage anyone who wants to learn about the New Gods, Brian, to watch Superman the Animated Series, two-parter Apocalypse Now. That's Apoko, A-P-O-K-O. Apocalypse Now, and the two-parter Legacy, the former of which told the Fourth World story almost flawlessly.
Well, shoot. I'll have to look those up. I'm sure those are on YouTube or something.
It's on, you have Amazon Prime, right?
I do.
Okay, so it's on Amazon Prime, the Superman animated series. It's from, I think it's from the second season.
Okay.
And as I said, I mean, they got some great voice actors on that to play the Fourth World characters, because Ron Perlman is Orion, and it's like perfect. And then Michael Ironside is Darkseid. And then Johan Griffith, who was Mr. Fantastic. He was Mr. Miracle. Yeah, those DC animated shows, they always found like just exactly the right people to do the voices.
That's cool. Well, I will definitely. We have a little document, and you have the thing here. I screen grabbed the titles of those episodes. I'm going to look them up. I'll watch them.
There you go.
Maybe next episode, then we'll talk about it.
And we can, and be like, Zachy, you were wrong. I don't know what the hell's going on. In which case, I will hang my head in shame.
Mike, you were wrong. Rob, you were wrong. John, you were wrong. Just like
the whole damn system is wrong.
Yeah.
Why don't we take a little break and we'll come back and talk about some headlines.
Great.
And we're back, and we got some headlines, a little bit of sad news, Brian, just to get this segment started. Just a couple days ago, Stephen Bochco passed away.
Yeah, I saw that.
He was 76 years old. It's crazy how all of these names from our formative years are just dropping away one after the other. But Stephen Bochco, I mean, I don't know about you, but I mean, growing up, for me, his name was synonymous with two things, actually. When I was younger, he was synonymous with the shows I'm not allowed to watch.
I was just going to, say something along those lines.
And then as I got older, I was like, oh, Stephen Bochco, quality television.
Right.
You know? I mean, in the 80s, I think of Hill Street Blues and L.A. Law, and then in the 90s, NYPD Blue, obviously,
Yep.
big one.
Yep. Yeah.
But I mean, he gave a start to so many other people. I mean, he worked with Stephen Cannell and Dave. What's his name? David E.
David E. Kelly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, yeah. I mean, we say it time and time again, but it's weird. The people that you have noticed or been influenced by or watched or whatever. It's weird now that it's catching up to those people that we're watching, those people pass.
Yeah, and one thing I say about television that is kind of unfortunate is it doesn't matter how honored a show is during its lifespan. Very few are the shows that truly transcend their lifespan.
Mm.
And unfortunately, I do feel like Steven Bochco's shows, like they have sort of gotten forgotten a little bit.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you don't hear Hill Street Blues referenced a whole lot.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, or like I always use this as an example because to me it's a show that I absolutely adore, NYPD Blue.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you remember when that show started? Just the white hot hype around it.
Oh yeah, and it was also a show that was made that was almost trying to compete with cable, right? Where they would push.
It was, yeah.
Language.
There was a lot of man
nudity
ass on that show.
Yeah, a lot of Sipowicz.
A lot of Sipowicz, yeah. But I mean, that show ended in 2004, I think.
Wow.
And yeah, or 2005. Let's see. It started in 90. It lasted for 11, 12 seasons. It ended in like 04, 05. But anyway, my point is, like almost as soon as it ended, people stopped talking about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And they just added it to Hulu, so I'm actually looking forward to going through and watching the whole thing again. And I would recommend anyone listening to this, if you haven't seen NYPD Blue, you've got this consistently great show waiting for you. I mean, 11, 12 seasons of this show.
Yeah, and when you said, as soon as it ended, it sort of stopped being talked about. But when it was on, I mean, it was referenced on everything. And of course, you and I being Simpsons guys, I mean, there was always, reference on The Simpsons and...
Yeah, I can think of two Simpsons references. One was where Homer's wearing a tie with a short sleeve shirt.
Yep.
And Marge's like, you can't wear that. And he's like, but Sipowicz would.
Yeah. Yeah, and then she makes some change. She's like, but Sipowicz.
and then the sexual harassment one where Dennis Franz plays Homer in the TV movie about him.
Yeah.
Right.
He's like, I don't care.
Yeah. You can't hear me, but the whole country will hear me. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but as I said, I mean, Hill Street Blues, L.A. Law, they really like zeitgeist defining shows. So above the fact that they have sort of faded away, I don't think should be taken as a debit against these shows. I mean, they were important at the time, but they are still quality television.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, thinking about it now, actually, like Lost, right? I mean, Lost was humongous.
Yeah,
especially for its time, when it was more fractured ways to watch things on television. But you don't hear it referenced a whole lot.
Yeah, it's very funny because this past semester, in my speech class, I made a reference to Lost, and yeah, not one of them. Now, forget having seen it; they didn't know it.
Wow, that was like 10 years ago, right? I think.
I mean, it started in 2004, right?
Oh, and it was only like 6 seasons or something, right?
Yeah, so it ended in like 10.
Okay. So yeah, about 10
years. It was very funny because my master's thesis is about Lost.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I remember that.
And so the day I made reference to Lost, I was actually being observed by another faculty member who happened to be my thesis advisor. So she obviously got the reference, and so I'm like, "Hey, you guys seen the show Lost?" Nobody got. I just look over at her. I'm like, "Deanna, what am I supposed to do here?" Like, joke. We had a laugh.
Can you imagine explaining that real quick? You're like, people crash land an island, smoke monster.
And they're like, "Oh, Gilligan." I'm like, "You remember Gilligan, but you don't know Lost."
Right.
But yeah, so Steven Bochco again, just none of these names. I mean, again, we lost Stephen Cannell a couple of years ago, and all these. It's just the names, Mm-hmm. It's jarring.
Yeah.
Yeah. But R.I.P. to a legend. His work will live on. And again, if you're listening to this and you've never seen NYPD Blue or any of his other shows, I mean they're worth watching, and they are quality.
Right.
You know, Brian. Now you may recall my contention insofar as Infinity War is concerned is that Doctor Strange is going to be one of the fatalities.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's right there in front of us, and we're looking past it because we're like they're not gonna kill a brand new character just like that.
Yep.
Well, there's an interview with Benedict Cumberbatch where Benedict Cumberbatch, Brian, says that there are no plans in place for a Doctor Strange sequel. Wonder how you feel about
That's a weird thing. You think they would at least try to play coy with that.
Right.
Because it almost, even notwithstanding with an Avengers movie coming up, I mean, would you want to say that about your one movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Yeah, no plans for a sequel.
Yeah, it's very odd, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I don't know.
I'm wondering.
Doctor Strange,
Here's
Death Watch continues.
Here's my thought. I think that, first of all, I want to see a Doctor Strange sequel, so I'm not rooting for the character to die because I like the first movie, I like the character, I like Benedict Cumberbatch, I like him being part of this universe. So all of that notwithstanding, from a story point of view, Doctor Strange is too powerful. And I think if you put a character like him against Thanos, you have to get him off the playing field. Otherwise, the odds are too even.
Right.
That's why my contention is that he's going to die in a shocking twist relatively early in Infinity War.
Okay.
And I don't know what his contract was with Marvel, but if it was 3 movies, well, this would be 3 movies.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Because he was in Thor.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, when you think about it, it's, they toss him into Thor and make you comfortable with the idea, oh yeah, he's another part of this universe, and then bam, he's dead. He's dead, Brian. Dead. D-E-D, dead. So, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
I have no... this is just my random observation, but we'll see. I don't know. I don't know if I want to be right,
Right.
But actually, speaking of Infinity War, I mean, my gosh, that's coming up. We're in April already.
I know. I can't believe it.
It's sneaking up on us, and Infinity War will be here in like 3 weeks, 2 weeks, something crazy.
Wow, summer movie season keeps getting pushed back thanks to Marvel and Fast and Furious.
Well, they moved back Infinity War by a whole week to so that they could coincide it with the global launch, because it was going to launch internationally on April 27th, and then in the States, in North America, first weekend of May, as has been tradition since like ever for like 10 years now. But then Robert Downey was like, "Hey, why don't we do it all on the same day?" And Marvel's like, "Okay."
Oh, really? That was his idea?
I'm assuming it was all coordinated.
Yeah.
But that's the way they played it. But the Russo brothers, who directed Avengers: Infinity War as well as its sequel, they actually put out a letter, an open letter, and it says the following. It says, "To the greatest fans in the world, Zachy and Brian."
Oh,
thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
We're about to embark on the Avengers Infinity War press tour. We will be visiting fans all over the world, screening only a limited amount of selected footage from the film in order to avoid spoiling the story for future viewers. We will not screen the film in its entirety until the Los Angeles premiere shortly before the film's global release. Everyone involved in the film has worked incredibly hard for the past 2 years, maintaining the highest levels of secrecy. Only a handful of people know the film's true plot. We're asking that when you see Infinity War in the coming months, that you maintain that same level of secrecy so that all fans can have an equal experience when they watch it for the first time. Don't spoil it for others the same way you wouldn't want it spoiled for you that Doctor Strange dies. Oh, see, they... Oh, see. No, the same way you wouldn't want it spoiled for you. Good luck and happy viewing. Now, I find just the release of this letter is fascinating because clearly there's going to be some shit going down in this movie.
Yeah.
Because ain't no other Marvel movie they ever said this about, because ain't nobody ever dies in a Marvel movie.
Right.
So that's very intriguing to me. I don't know, man. I'm going in the movie with like butterflies because I know we're going to lose a few, and I know I'm going to be sad no matter who we lose.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be weird.
It
lose
is.
any of them.
It is. It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
But speaking of a franchise that is continuing on, this seems presumptuous to me. I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong.
You know, I had the same sort of feeling actually when I was reading this. So I'm kind of glad you said that. Anyway.
So Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom is coming out next month, and they've already announced that Jurassic World 3 will number one will be happening, and number two will be directed by Colin Trevorrow, who directed the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I was actually going back and forth about this. I was like, on the one hand, yes, it seems presumptuous. On the other hand, does it seem presumptuous?
Well, no. Actually, I don't think it does at all. It makes complete sense. However, I think I was more ruminating on the fact that, you know, when Jurassic Park 1 came out, it was a huge hit. And it's like, so let's make a second one.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And like this, just the forethought and the plotting ahead of like, well, we're going to make Jurassic World and there'll be 2 more coming out. Like there's just something about that is obviously the business model now, but presumptuous or just whatever those feelings are that sort of, you're like, oh, wow, okay. Like
how badly would Jurassic World 2 need to underperform for them to not do a sequel?
Right. It's just something about the inevitability of it that just feels a little like, I don't know. It's just, it completely makes sense, but it's funny that it stirred the same sort of feelings in us a little bit.
Yeah, obviously Colin Trevorrow, through his involvement with the Star Wars Episode 9, that obviously that's not happening, and then the Book of Henry, which just got wildly scorned by pretty much everybody who saw it. Yeah. He's brought this baggage that he didn't have when he entered the Jurassic franchise.
Isn't that funny? I mean, well, I have to admit, when I sort of read his name or see whatever, you're sort of like, ooh.
You're right.
Like a guy walking down past the lockers, we're like, oh, here comes Colin, you know?
Yeah, so kind of interesting. Now this is officially confirmed by Steven Spielberg, who is the godfather of the Jurassic franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Colin Trevorrow is going to write and direct the third Jurassic World story. So I would imagine that they're happy with what they've seen of the second one. I mean, that's right. I mean, what else?
Yeah, because he wrote the second one, right?
He wrote the second one. So so Colin Trevorrow has been involved pretty heavily creatively, either to its benefit or its detriment, depending on who you talk to, because Jurassic World, as we've discussed, has become quite a polarizing movie.
Yeah, we've mentioned it, but it's diminished a little bit for me. But I wouldn't say that I think it's a bad movie. It's just a movie that I'm less enamored with than I was in the theater.
You know what? If Jurassic World is The Force Awakens, I hope Fallen Kingdom is The Last Jedi.
Oh boy.
And
I feel like what's his name in Speed? He's like, oh darn. Yeah.
And that's our show, everybody. No, I mean in the sense that like Jurassic World was sort of like doing a karaoke version of Jurassic Park, and we were fine with that.
Totally.
And you could say the same about The Force Awakens, and I liked both of those movies. But certainly The Last Jedi was about being like, all right, let's like move the furniture around a little bit. I hope they do that with this next one.
I think, my gosh, you have to, right? Like, I mean, especially knowing that there's another story coming after this, then what's going to happen that doesn't break the world enough, where we're going to come back anyway, and how many times can you plausibly put these people in these scenarios? I want them to keep happening, but it's challenging. So
I mean, how many times can you have people chased around by dinosaurs and have it be interesting?
Yeah, exactly.
And I hear some music, which I think means we have some Star Wars news. Now, Brian, normally you take the lead on Star Wars news, but I wanted to ask if you saw this, because we were talking about Colin Trevorrow, and there was a rumor a couple weeks ago floating about why he was fired from Episode 9. Did you see this?
No, I don't know if I did.
So this is according to Flickering Myth, and Flickering Myth is citing that bastion of credible journalism, Reddit. So take things with a grain. But essentially, what this anonymous source claims is that what led to his falling out was that he didn't like some of the story developments that were in episode 8. And since he had to, pick up the baton and go after
Right.
that, it says here, again, this is the Reddit source, the creative differences all stem from Trevorrow having issues with the deaths of Luke Skywalker and Supreme Leader Snoke. These were the two key things Trevorrow wanted to be changed, and they were not minor. Now, the timing here, I'm not sure it entirely works, but this is the quote. These two things would have been known for a while around Disney. Firstly, he wanted Luke to still be alive in 9. He strongly disagreed with killing off Luke in 8 when he had just been reintroduced. Luke and Leia were to be a pivotal part of his script, with Leia's Force affinity revealed in a much more brother-sister way that was apparently going to be, quote, beautiful and tragic. Mark Hamill loved it. We were on the same page, is what Mark Hamill said about Trevorrow's storyline. However, Kennedy and Rian Johnson, wanted Luke dead, period. Second, he wanted Snoke to live, as his backstory was to be more discussed. Fisher dying scuttled his original plan for the Leia Force affinity reveal, of course, but he still needed Luke alive for the story he wanted to tell to end the trilogy, more of a Luke handing off the baton to Rey and a Luke, quote, walking off into the sunset idea in the last film rather than Luke dying in 8. They refused, he argued, they fired him. This is just rumor.
Totally, yeah, sure.
So we should couch all of that. I wonder how much of this is like the Last Jedi haters trying to find
Yeah.
something to feed the narrative. The reason I say that I'm not sure the timing works is because when he was brought on, they already knew the story for episode 8.
Right.
So, how much of a position would he have been to be like, no, that movie that's already in production,
right.
change? That doesn't make sense to me,
Yeah, but if it were true and I were him, I would almost want this leak to sort of save some face.
Right.
Because it almost looks like through the way that things went down, it almost feels like he couldn't keep up or something.
Yes, right.
And if that wasn't the case at all, and it was just true creative differences, I mean, I would leak that story.
I mean, you have to imagine it's going to come out eventually.
Sure, there'll be some book about it, or
Yeah, exactly. You know what's funny is I was watching Last Jedi last week, and I was remembering when we talked about how Rian Johnson had asked J.J. Abrams to make a change, right? And one little change, and it was that on Ahch-To, instead of having BB-8, he said, "Can you have it be R2-D2?" And you and I speculated about why that would have been. And I realized, oh yeah, it was because he needed R2 to show Luke the video.
right.
And I was like, that's kind of brilliant. And what's funny is I was like, I wonder what that reunion would be like. And you were like, old friend. That's what you said. And that's what Luke said.
Oh, wow.
So you called it like a year ago.
Oh, that's funny. Good memory, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I remember the useless things we say. That's how much these conversations mean to me, Brian.
Yeah.
But what else is going on?
Well, so speaking of this whole thing with Trevorrow, and someday we'll find out what went down, that's something that I am actually impressed with this day and age. And I think it started with Crystal Skull, where you're like, wow, there was a script written by other people, and but they didn't like them. And I'm like, man, I'd love to read those scripts some days. And then the next day you're like, well, here it is. All these these behind the scenes stories and whatnot come to light a lot faster in the internet age, and that includes Solo.
Yes.
Most currently, having Lord and Miller fired essentially from that production. Essentially, no, they were fired from that production.
They were completely fired. Yes.
I remember thinking when that happened, man, I'd really love to know the true story of that. And basically, ever since, we've been hearing in great detail how that happened, right. Which is it's kind of crazy. But even more recently, I mean, we knew it was literally creative differences, not only in story, but also in process that got them let go from that movie. But Vulture.com had a source who apparently is an actor who is close to production, who was there for both the Lord and Miller days and then the Ron Howard days, but who declined to be identified because they're not authorized to speak on this, come out with a few more details about the differences between the first go-around of shooting and then the second go-around of shooting. Which, by the way, before we even get into that, don't you think that's pretty risky? Would you do that?
Would I talk to the press?
Yeah.
I was actually thinking about that as you were talking. I was like doing the math. I'm like, this has to be somebody who's relatively big enough that they're not worried about being caught.
Oh, that's interesting. Because, I was just listening to I read an article, I think it was on AV Club, about Primary Colors, that book that came out about, that was like a sort of an allegory or whatever you want to call it, to the Bill Clinton
That's right.
thing. And even back then in the sort of early or pre-internet days, they still figured out who wrote that book when it was anonymous. And so in this day and age, like, you're going to figure if they wanted to, I'm certain they can figure this out.
Well, that's why. Number one, I think the person who's talking is very complimentary of Ron Howard. And so I think that's part of the reason that there probably has not been like a crackdown.
You're right. This is probably way more sly than I'm falling for it.
Right. I mean, it's a lot of like, it was kind of a shit show when Lord and Miller were doing it, and then Ron Howard came on, and it was like he was just running a tight ship, and he's so great and whatever. So it's really a positive story for the film as it exists now, right?
That's true. And so for example, one of the rumors they said was that the script was unworkable, right? And and this person said that they're doing the exact same script they were in the first place.
Yeah, they just reshot the script, but the Ron Howard way.
Right. Which, again, if we're going to go with what you're saying, it worked on me. I was like, well, it looks like they had it together to begin with, and now we just, and then another thing they brought up was that Lord and Miller's style was sort of the find it in editing version of things, and that they would
Which you can believe. I mean, having seen the Jump Street movies.
Yeah, and the way that this person recounts it, they would do up to 30 takes of a given scene, up to the point where actors would be looking at each other confused, right? Yes. The way he says it, or he or she says it, is, this is getting weird. Like it seemed like it was out of control.
Yeah. See, I mean, it doesn't paint them in a great light.
Yep.
But it does paint the movie that we're going to get in a good light.
Yep, and then he says once Ron Howard came on, he impressed the beleaguered solo production by working really fast. He took control and you could feel it. He was confident, a really easy guy to work with, and quickly earned the respect of the crew. So now I'm realizing what Zeki said, and I completely fell for this article that is probably authorized by Lucasfilm.
It kind of feels like it, doesn't it?
It does now. But I mean, all those things said, it did kind of work on me, and I know people are like ready to like poop on this movie. I'm not. I want it to be good.
I think that success brings its own band of haters, and I think obviously Star Wars has had a level of success where the truth of it, let's be real. I mean, Solo is going to be painted as a disappointment no matter what, unless it performs at like Force Awakens levels, which is totally unfair.
Yeah.
You can't expect that, But I think the Star Wars name has come to represent so much in terms of box office that you've got not just box office prognosticators, but like all of the legions of people who, not even legions, that gives them too much credit. The handful of people who are like, Disney has ruined Star Wars. They're hoping to draw first blood.
Mm-hmm.
And this seems like the target most ripe for that.
Yep.
Because there's a lot working against it. I mean, forget all the behind-the-scenes stuff. The mere fact that you dare to have anybody else play Han Solo.
Well, speaking of, he goes into that. That was one of the rumors that came out, was that Alden Ehrenreich,
yes,
the actor playing Han Solo, was not doing it very well, and he required an acting coach. And then this person, his quotes, or his or her quotes, say, trying to mimic Harrison Ford is really tough. Lucasfilm wanted something very specific, copying someone else. Alden's not a bad actor, just not good enough. And he says then the coach was brought on, and it made an immediate impact on his line delivery. The quote is, "You could see his acting become more relaxed. He became more Harrison-like. The coach helped." So
And you know, I love people shitting on the idea of him having an acting coach.
people who've been acting for years and years and years still have acting coaches. Like,
Yeah, like I'm like, does it matter as long as the performance we get on screen is good? Who the hell cares?
yeah, and I'll admit that's something that I was sort of surprised to learn at one point. But yeah, there's actors who are established that I'm sure listeners love would be surprised to learn. Like they still have acting coaches. It's almost like having someone on the sidelines, just sort of like a coach in sports. Just
Well,
sort of like.
I mean, Henry Cavill had somebody help him with line readings between takes because he has to keep his English accent from coming out.
Yeah.
But we don't care when we watch Man from U.N.C.L.E. or whatever.
Right. Well, it's like having a trainer too. You know what I mean? Like just sort of poking and prodding you to push you and
Yeah,
get you
it's
past
like having
yourself.
Rocky in your corner. Are you anti-Rocky people?
yeah, guys. I'm
How do you
behind
feel
Zachy now
now?
pointing.
You
You
feel like a piece of
anti-Rocky?
shit, don't you?
Yeah. So,
Anything else though in the story?
I don't know.
I mean, Brian, I think worth mentioning. I don't know if this is mentioned in here, but Lord and Miller are not going to have a directing credit.
Oh,
Obviously.
yeah, I couldn't remember if we
they
talked
will
about that
be
before.
Executive producers,
Yes, which seems about right.
which is basically here's your money, shut the hell up.
Right. And an acknowledgement, because I'm sure some of their work is in there, and so
Well, they cast the film.
film exactly. I mean, yeah, for sure. They pushed the ship into the water.
Yeah,
So-
exactly. So what if it sank almost instantly? They got it in the.
Yeah.
Anything else Star Wars related worth mentioning?
Oh, and just for people who are, for the episode film fans, this is such a little tidbit, but John Boyega mentioned that Daisy Ridley had spoken to J.J. Abrams, and so she in turn spoke to him and said that for episode 9, they're not going to split Rey and Finn up. So it seems like they're going to be together for the final chapter.
I mean, not romantically.
No. Sorry. Just I think for some people they were such a duo, and their friendship and relationship was a big part of episode 7, and having them split up for episode 8 was a little disappointing. So for some people, I mean,
Yeah.
but like Luke and Han and Leia were split up for Empire. But anyway, episode 9, it seems like they're going to be back together, much like Han and Leia and Luke on Endor.
Together again, huh?
Exactly.
How are we doing? Same as always. That bad, huh?
Huh? Exactly. The band is back together. So
There we go. I'm very curious if what presence, if any, Rose will have in episode 9.
yeah, because no one wants some sort of triangle.
My sense is even people who like the character would prefer not to have that.
No, that just seems like a waste of real estate.
Right. Yeah, and when you say waste of real estate, I mean, if this is meant to be the culminative, the capper to all 3 trilogies, they got a lot of stuff to do.
Yeah, and that's what JJ has promised, right? Like this is going to wrap up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Which to me, it's like, hey, JJ, don't overpromise here.
Yeah, right.
We all saw the finale of Lost.
Right.
Well, not all. My students last semester did.
Yeah. Way to bring it back. That's great.
Real briefly, this Brian, we've made this a running thing now for the last couple episodes. Worth mentioning, HasLabs and their $500 Jabba's sail barge recreation.
Yes. Is drum roll.
So their goal, as of this recording, their goal is 5,000 backers with 12 hours to go, and of those 5,000 backers, they have reached 7,664.
Ah, we made it, people.
We need to play the Ewok celebration music right now.
Yep. The people at Hasbro are.
I'm not mocking anybody who would spend $500 for a 4-foot long recreation of Jabba's sail. Well, no, that's not true. I'm mocking you mercilessly. What are you kidding? You don't have car payments or something?
Well, it's funny because I didn't even know this thing existed. And then we started talking about it, and then I actually found myself getting a little like invested in it and kind of curious. And speaking of my FBI agent that's monitoring my phone, he kept putting advertisements for this Hasbro thing in my feeds. So after we started talking about it, it's kept coming up in my Facebook and my Instagram.
And the end of the story, you are one of the 7,664 orders, right?
I'm the guy in the shadows from far away smiling at everyone celebrating that it worked, and I'm like, because I know I did my part, and I walk away.
Here's what I'm wondering: how many of these orders are people buying multiple ones with the intention of flipping them?
Oh, I am almost certain.
In which case, if you say $500 is your in right now, how high would somebody be willing to go? Like, I feel like 500 is it.
I have no idea. I mean, me being the big Back to the Future nut that I am, when in 2015 when they put out those Nike Mag shoes.
Okay.
I mean, I had no intention of buying them because I knew they'd be expensive, but I just sort of followed it a little bit. And I think those were only ever up for auction or something like that. I don't know if they were ever up for straight sale, but those, I think everybody scooped those up, and now if you look for them on eBay, they're at lowest $10,000.
Wow, no kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, well, then what do I? You know what's funny is you mentioned Back to the Future, and I'm here like, these people paid $500 for this Jabba sailboat, stupid losers. And I got Hot Toys Marty and Doc from Back to the Future too, and I think the total for both was like $500.
Right. Well, everybody has their
I'm a damned hypocrite, is what I'm saying, people. Don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah, we're all endeared to our stuff. Or whatever that is for each person.
But am I not endeared to Star Wars, Brian? Don't we have we don't have Back to the Future news.
That's true.
We have Star Wars news, and I'm making fun of the people who buy Star Wars things. What have I become, Brian?
I don't know.
What have I become? And Brian, any other Star Wars news?
Yeah, well, this is something that just sort of popped up that you and I came across. But this morning we were reading that Rian Johnson actually received death threats over the last Jedi.
I mean, is that terribly surprising?
You know what? I guess sadly no. Well, I mean, isn't that? I guess that's my thing, right? The death threat guy. You got to wake up the death threat guy whenever something happens.
Right.
It's like, did you hear? You know, Alpha's being rebooted. Oh, wake up the death threat guy. What? You know. I don't know. I guess I shouldn't be laughing at this, but
yeah, right.
I guess you know what. And the reason I am laughing is because this is such a common, stupid, impotent refrain being thrown into the wind these days, but I guess they still should be taken seriously. But Rian Johnson addressed it, and it's kind of a bummer because look, I mean, I'm one of those people that I know that you really like Last Jedi, and I like it for the most part. I still have reservations and whatnot, but it's like we're all free to our opinions. But then you got, the poor guy works hard on this movie, and he's saying, essentially, when you put something out there like this, that response and reaction is going to be intense, but then his quote here is, but then you still read someone saying they wish you were dead. And yeah, that's going to ruin your day.
You'd think so,
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. But he offsets it a little bit by saying, yes, there were death threats, but 90% of the stuff I got online was not only lovely, but encouraging. So.
Yeah, I've said it before and I'll say it again. You really have to look at this through the perspective of kids. Because I think kids take these things in the right perspective because they're experiencing them as they go and not with all these years and decades of anticipation.
Right.
So, Star Wars, the primary audience is the young and the young at heart. And if you're watching it through that lens, then Luke Skywalker dying is no bigger a deal than Obi-Wan Kenobi dying.
Right.
Which is a big deal.
Right.
It is a big deal dramatically and in the story, but when you look at kids, they're like, oh, Luke is dead. That's sad. And then they say, oh, but I'm going to play with my hot Luke Skywalker now.
Right. Or for me, it's even like, you don't even have to like it, but it's just, it's just interesting people's perspectives on things these days because it's like it or not, that's up to you, but to say something that's so threatening, it's just to be so dark of a person
It's nothing new, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I mean, the internet has obviously given a megaphone to some of these people.
Yes.
But
yes.
I mean, Chris Claremont, who wrote X-Men comics back in the 80s, talked about getting death threats when he wrote a story where Jean Grey died.
Wow, so there's always been a death threat guy.
There's always been it's a mantle. It's passed on.
Yeah.
It's like the Black Panther.
Yeah.
It's passed from person to person. By the way, you know what I was thinking about with the Black Panther was how they can never make the Phantom now.
Is it too similar? I don't know. I'm not very familiar with the Phantom.
I mean, it's the same idea, right? It's this jungle hero whose mantle is passed from father to son and father to son. But I'm like, all people are going to see with the Phantom is like the white savior.
Yeah. Wow. Good point.
You know?
Yeah. Well, so the Phantom will always be Billy Zane
That's
in our hearts. It ends.
That's
It
gonna
ends
be-
with Zane.
That's going to be the rallying cry of the white supremacists. You ruined the Phantom for us.
And everyone's gonna be like, "Which one is that?"
Yes. This one, remember? I
All
don't
right.
recognize him, but wait, maybe this? You remember this? I think so.
With Alec Baldwin. That was the Shadow.
No, that's the Shadow.
Oh. My apologies
anyway.
to Phantom fans.
Yes. I do think Ryan Johnson went on to say something in the LA Times that I think is really relevant, because obviously the complaint people had was they felt, either rightly or wrongly, that he sort of broke the toys, right?
Okay.
And his quote is, "When people ask me, don't you think people are going to get sick of Star Wars movies? To me, that question indicates that they're thinking of Star Wars movies as a museum exhibit that's wheeled out once a year. So you can say, oh, I loved that thing. Oh, I remember that thing. And yes, if Star Wars is that, people are going to get sick of it really quickly. But if Star Wars are great new movies that are exciting and fresh and that challenge you and surprise you and make you feel things and engage you the way that those original movies did, but always taking you to new places both in the galaxy and emotionally, that's never going to get old. That's what it's all about."
Agreed.
Yeah.
Let's
I think
hope
at the
that
end he
they
said,
do
"That's
that.
what it's all about."
I wish more people would do that.
What a happier world it would be, right?
Yeah.
Those death threat guys would maybe lighten up a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've said before that I think time, the movie is going to need to ferment a little bit. People need to walk away from all of the expectations that they had going in, on all of the emotions that they had coming out. And I think once that happens, they will take the movie for what it is. I hope, and this is all dependent on where things go from here.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess, yeah, it's just how deep into whatever personal pit they're in. You know what I mean? Because we've talked about this. Like, I don't like Crystal Skull very much, but, that sucks. you know what I mean? That's about where it ends with me.
I remember a website back when Daniel Craig was cast as James Bond, and it was Craig Not Bond.
Right.
And it was this daily updated hate fest about Daniel Craig.
So the whole website was dedicated to that.
Yeah, it was Craig Not Bond. That was it. That was the website.
Wow.
And this was a solid year and a half before Casino Royale came out. So it was very funny because once the movie came out, suddenly the website sort of died away.
Right.
Because people are like, wait a minute, he's awesome, right? And the truth is, most people weren't stressing about it at all. I mean, I very distinctly remember my reaction was like, oh, that's awesome. He's a great actor.
Mm-hmm.
But people need to chill out, man. I don't know. Like pop culture is a bitter chalice sometimes for people. Jeez,
Yeah. Well, that almost feels like a natural segue.
It does. So we got a bitter chalice of pop culture coming up, maybe, I think, possibly, on the flip side of this break. We'll find out. Okay, and we're back, and there is a new Steven Spielberg movie in theaters, Brian, or so I have heard.
Yeah. So I have seen.
Oh, wait, I've seen it too.
Yeah.
It's been more than a week, and I've kind of started to forget about it already. I may be giving away a little bit of my reaction to this movie, Brian. I don't know. I'm very nervous. I'm nervous about what you think, because I think this may be like movie film Civil War.
Oh my gosh. See, I have no idea what you think.
Well, we're talking about Ready Player One. It's in theaters now. It is the second movie that Steven Spielberg shot in 2017 because he's like 76 and he's like, hey, why should I slow down?
Damn, he's 76.
He's yes, I believe so.
Wow. All right.
Hold on, let me make sure. I don't want to be like aging him up.
No, but feels about right. It's just interesting.
He is 71. I added 5 years.
Okay. Well, still.
See, he's 71 years old, and I'm the guy who's like, I own this movie, but it's on a DVD in my garage, so I'll just purchase it on Vudu. That way, I don't have to get up and walk to the garage. Meanwhile, Steven Spielberg makes 2 movies in 1 year because he can.
Right.
So, who's living life better? I think it's the beard, Brian.
Yeah, he's doing quite well for himself.
He's doing fine, and Ready Player One opened to a not bad opening weekend.
Yeah, we had the holiday weekend, right? And when it's all said and done, what was it, about 50, something like that?
Yeah, about let's see, it's made roughly 60 million thus far.
Okay.
Not too shabby. I mean, I don't know what the budget was, but I would assume it's 150 or so, probably.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, and then worldwide, I think it's at like 160.
So this is based on a book that has been called the Holy Grail of pop culture. I have not read the book. You have listened to the book, and you had mixed reactions. You had mixed reactions, although those stemmed from some what you felt were questionable choices in Will Wheaton's audio performance.
Yeah, well, I think the character came off a little cockier. He kind of started to annoy me, the character, but okay. I think it was the way that he was reading it. But also, it's a book that's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of fun ideas in there. But I think I've said this too. Like he's a protagonist that's good at everything.
Yes.
So you're just sort of like the next thing that's put in front of him. He's fortunately the best at that thing, so he continues to best at everything that's put in front of him. But at the same time, I mean, it's very light. It's cotton candy, and
yes.
I had a good enough time listening to it. But it's not something that I thought was great.
If I'm being honest, what you just described as your reaction to the book, that was basically my reaction to the film, which, going in and maybe a little bit of context, I mean, you and I both, we were hearing these really sort of rapturous responses to that first screening out of South by Southwest.
Right.
And I'm not going to say that got my hopes up because it truly didn't, but I went into the movie expecting to be entertained, and I would say I was.
Mm-hmm.
But I would also say I left it in the theater. It felt, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. It didn't really stay with me, and I'm still like, I'm hearing from people I trust these really sort of like life-changing responses, you know?
Wow. Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't, and I'm still thinking about it 2 days later. And I'm sitting here and I'm not like, what the hell's wrong with you? I'm like, what did you see and what didn't I see? Because I thought it was totally fine.
Yeah.
I'm struggling to write my review because I don't know how to get 5 paragraphs out of it's totally fine.
I think I liked it more than you, but I'm much closer to you than you think.
Okay.
It's a weird movie, and it's only weird because it comes from Steven Spielberg, I think.
Yes.
Because this movie, I wrote down when I was trying to write some notes for this and my thoughts, I just put down this is pure popcorn from a first-rate director. So
yes.
And what I mean by that is you go to certain movies, like these rock movies, right? Like where you go see, he's like, The Rock's fighting a giant gorilla. The Rock's jumping from a giant building. The Rock's jumping, blah, 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 blah. Like, but for some reason, I always kind of half enjoy those movies, but then there's part of me that just can't love them, and I don't know what it is. They just feel a little flat to me. Yes. And I felt like this movie reminded me of those sorts of movies, but from a director who knew how to make it pop better. But at the same time, and I've seen this criticism, and I totally agree with it, is there wasn't a lot of heart to it.
That's totally how I feel.
Yeah, but oddly, I kind of didn't care. Like, because the movie is so synthetic or so filled with stuff that's just supposed to make it's just pure sugar. This movie is pure sugar. And if I take a step back, especially knowing who made it, I would have liked maybe a little bit more understanding of the stakes of the world.
Yes.
And I feel like this movie is more concentrated on the stakes of moment to moment. So ultimately, like you said, I don't think it's something that's going to linger for me. But at the same time, I did have a blast watching it.
It's the worry that you and I both had was that it was going to be sort of a bunch of digital noise
Yes.
that we don't care about, and it wasn't that.
No, surprisingly.
Yes, and I think that speaks to just Spielberg's abilities, right?
Yeah.
I haven't read the book, so I can't speak to that, but I would imagine that the stuff that I disliked was worse in the book. Like, I think whatever we ended up with that I did respond to, I think it speaks to sort of his abilities as a storyteller, just based on what I've read about the book. I think, for me, the biggest problem I had is I failed to see the necessity of the Oasis as anything other than just like a thing that people have fun in, right?
Yeah, which the book goes into obviously a little bit more.
Okay.
It's an essential part of life. I mean, basically pollution is terrible. There's all these, sort of post-apocalyptic dust storm sort of situations going on.
So that's a good example, right? Like because to me, what I got out of it is it's like an anti-network network neutrality. You know what I mean? Like if we imagine the Oasis as the free and open internet, and Ben Mendelsohn is like big corporate,
Sure. Yeah.
and trying to, I can get that as an allegory. But to me, I was weirded out by seeing all these people who are just like living their lives in the Oasis as opposed to like trying to make the world better.
Right. And again, like with the book, like they go to school through the Oasis.
Yes.
Like life
kind of
is
thing.
lived through this thing.
That's almost.
Yeah.
It's tricky, right? Because that what the film is presenting is something that, to some extent, maybe this is just me, but I'm like, do we want that? Do we want people just living fantasy lives completely separate from the real world? Like, and so you have like near the end, you see these people like in the real world. You see them all with their little visors on, and they're like punching and hitting and stuff like in the real world.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's weird looking. Like,
Yeah.
So that was the broader that was I had a hard time buying into that, and then on top of it we get like another Chosen One story.
Yes. Sure.
Basically, and I'm like, it's just the problem is that even if you have Spielberg directing it, Spielberg is directing a story that's troping a Steven Spielberg story.
Sure.
So it's this weird thing where, I liked it as a purely entertaining experience. Again, I didn't feel like I wasted those 2 hours, but I think my reaction is more like, what is it that other people saw that they are so in love with? Because I just I don't get it.
Yeah, I definitely think it's something I'd like to watch again. I'd
watch it on home video once or twice, just to see all the Easter eggs. But it's not Jurassic Park or something, where the movie Jurassic Park ended, and you're like, I want to watch it again right this minute.
Well, and the thing about Jurassic Park is there's funny moments, and there's even the moment where Hammond is talking to Laura Dern about the flea circus, and like every moment is great, and it builds upon the characters and whatnot. When I think of wanting to watch this again, I'm like, I just want to see that race again.
Yes,
you know what I mean.
Right.
And it makes me wonder too. I wrote this down also. The sort of a thing they say about filmmakers is they have to do one for them and they do one for everyone else, and they do one for them. I wondered if this was the first one for them Spielberg has ever done.
Interesting.
And I don't know that.
I was wondering if it was him like flexing his muscles, being like, "Can I still do this?"
See, I wonder similarly, but slightly different. Because I heard in an interview one time he said about action and stuff. He's I might be paraphrasing, but essentially he's like, I can do that in my sleep. Like that's not interesting anymore. And he wants to tell these. And I saw that interview with him back in December or whatever with the Post, and he's like, I want my kids to see. I want to tell these stories to my kids about things that actually happened that are exciting and thrilling and whatnot. So it feels like that's where his heart is. But his past, I was looking at some articles, his past 3 openings or whatever have been under $20 million, whereas this one was, say, 50. And I wonder, when you say flex muscles, I wonder if this is him just kind of just being like, right? Like, I can do this. And like, I'll have fun doing it too, sure. My heart is, I wondered if his heart was really into it.
Sure.
I'm sure he had fun.
Yeah.
But I wonder if this was just kicking the dust off a little bit, getting his, like, whatever he needs again for people to give him a little bit more money so he can make the Post too, you know?
Yes. See, I think that in a thematic sense, it's sort of falling all over itself. Because you can't be like... the theme of the movie is, this thing was created by this man, and it needs to remain what he intended it to be. And if you remove it from his original intentions, it turns into, an insult to the man who created it. You can't do that and then be like, and here's the Iron Giant in a completely different context than you originally saw him. You know what I mean?
That's funny.
Like that's the weird thing to me. Like it's yes, it's cool. It's all these pop culture references, but it's not Roger Rabbit. It's not even Wreck-It Ralph. Because to me, Roger Rabbit and Wreck-It Ralph, the stuff where you're like, oh, look at all these characters. That's neat. Mm-hmm. But you've got like Roger Rabbit. Ultimately, what's the point of interest in that movie is Eddie Valiant redeeming himself.
Right.
And that's the plot line we carry out, and that's what makes that movie emotional and fulfilling.
Mm-hmm.
Wreck-It Ralph, right? When Ralph is like, I'm a good guy or whatever he's, and you think he's about to die. It's a genuinely emotional moment because we followed his arc, right? Here, the main character, Wade, right?
Yep.
Like I don't know. I mean, Ty Sheridan is like, he's like fine, you know, but I didn't care about his like alter ego at all.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to find this in where I feel vested in what happens. And the fact that you have this tenement that's bombed and dozens of people die.
Yeah.
And we feel nothing. Like, that's so weird to me.
Feel nothing, and there's a moment where it's referenced later, and it's just like, very
exactly.
callously.
Right.
Or dispassionately.
It's like, okay. Like,
yeah. It's so funny. It's weird sort of being on this side, because usually I'm the one who's a little more passionate about it. But part of me is like, I don't know, it was ice cream for dinner. Like and the thing is you're right. Like, and I thought about these things as I was watching it. I thought about it when it was over, but I was like, but that race was so cool.
Yeah, I mean,
and somehow I'm comfortable with it, even though I know this movie could have been 10 times better.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, that's what it is. I want to be very clear. I'm not like hating on the movie. What I said at the start, it's totally fine. Yeah. I keep coming back to that because I don't, I don't have a better descriptor. It's like, oh, look, there's there's Simon Pegg. That's cool. You know. Mm-hmm. Simon Pegg doing a flawless American accent, by the way.
Yeah, he's pretty good. That's
a special effect in and of itself in this movie.
Right.
And it was fun to see him. But again, I just felt like the experience was fine, but it didn't add up to a whole lot beyond just, here's this experience. And that's disappointing to me,
It's so funny because I will repeat the exact sentence you just said with a smile on my face. And I think I heard the slight downward turn frown as you said it.
It's the moment it was talking about the Iron Giant.
Yeah.
We're like spoiling this movie. I just realized.
I wanted to get into one of the things and realized it would be a spoiler. So yeah, we can have it. Yeah, I think we're pretty clear. about where we're
Yes.
at so far, and we can get into some of the stuff that.
All right, everything past this point is for sure a spoiler.
Yeah.
Everything before this point is a pseudo spoiler. The thing with the Iron Giant, right? To me, again, there's the part of you where like, hey, cool, it's the Iron Giant. That's totally fine. And then literally, this is my mind. You see him fall into the molten thing, and I'm
Yeah.
like, no, they're not.
You know, it's so funny because I think me and my brother might have like hugged each other at that moment and shed a tear. Like, of just like, this is the thing that I love. I guess I got to cop to the fact that maybe it worked on me.
Well, I, for those of you who are listening, Terminator 2 is, of course, one of Brian's Desert Island discs.
Yeah.
So there is that, but
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
to me, it's like a Xerox of a Xerox of a Xerox. By the time we end up with what we get in Ready Player One, and that's fine if you get the experience. If you get the reference, I mean, but I don't know.
See,
I feel like
Yeah.
such a grouchy Grinch.
No,
because
no.
I'm reacting this way.
You know what's funny though is because like I don't even feel like I need to like disagree with you. Like, I think you're right. Like for some reason it just didn't bother me. But like,
Yeah.
what I wanted to say, which you basically were just sort of getting into, was I've noticed people seem split online whether they find the pop culture stuff delightful or they find it annoying or eye-rolly or offensive in some way. And that's really ultimately, I think, a huge thing. Like if it like the trailers annoy you, like seeing the Iron Giant in another context and whatever annoys you, probably not the movie for you.
Yes, and it doesn't annoy me in that sense. Like I said, so you're like, oh, cool, Iron Giant, and the one guy becomes a Gundam or whatever. That's fine. I think to me, here's the central. Ultimately, what it comes down to for me is I was not convinced of the necessity of the Oasis to everyday life. I got why you're trying to keep it from Ben Mendelsohn, whatever his character's name is, I forget.
Yeah.
I get why you don't want him getting his mitts into it. That's fine, but the idea that like world-changing stakes are at play, that I think we needed more of that.
I completely agree with you, and especially given the filmmaker who made it, you
Yes.
definitely should expect that.
Yes.
I completely agree with that. And it's funny because then at the same time, with the second mission they had where they went into The Shining, I think I was squealing. I like
That was very well done. Yeah, oh, no doubt.
and so in a way, I think this movie felt more like a theme park ride to me, where I got
think
to
that's
ride
apt.
through my favorite movies in a DeLorean.
Yes.
And I had a good time with that. And I think, but I completely agree, though, that Spielberg could have put a little more sparkle on this and made it seem more consequential,
Yes.
driven in a little more heart. And this movie could have just like been something for everybody.
I mean,
And it's surprising that he
yeah,
didn't.
and I think this goes to the fact that the main characters, I just didn't find any of them particularly compelling.
I agree with that. And as long as we're talking about that, I guess we should talk about
Except Ben Mendelsohn, I loved him, but
He was great.
About anything. Yeah.
yeah.
He was basically Director Krennic again.
Yes. Yeah. It's worth mentioning though, the female character Artemis,
Yes.
and how she's like, I don't want you to meet me. I don't look like you,
Oh,
you
dude.
think I do in real life. And then he meets the most beautiful girl in the world,
Dude, I had the same reaction.
who basically has a birthmark on her face that looks like a light shadow.
I was dying. I had that exact reaction.
Yeah.
I was like, really?
Because in the book, she's slightly overweight, and it's not that those are that bad either. But it's like, there's things that she would feel
she's
more self-conscious
very much
about.
not her avatar.
Yes, and it's just funny in the movie. And I did sort of love, if we're putting that aside for a split second, though, the Spielberg reveal where like the wind blows up her hair. I was like, God, I love you so much. I was like Spielberg and nerding all over this thing. Like, there were a couple shots, I even wrote them down, where I was like, this is what yes, I wish the whole thing had added up to more, but I loved seeing his touch throughout. And I think, sorry, now I'm like, the dam has burst. I think what helped with some of the action, where you watch some of the CG stuff, and we were saying we were worried it was just going to be this huge explosion of nonsense. Obviously, he knows how to make you. He knows where to keep your focus.
Yes.
Right. And when you had that chaotic race at the beginning, which was insanity, but I noticed that the DeLorean would be somewhat out of frame, but you would even see like the tip of the nuclear exhaust things on the back. So you knew where it was.
Right.
Even though the camera was shaking all over the place. And I was paying attention to that, and I was like, you dog. Like, just like, this guy knows how to direct a chase. But I also thought at the end, when it had that huge battle where every creature, and whatever was, and that could have been complete nonsense. But I thought what he did that was so good about it was how he kept tying it to the real world and kept cutting back to the people at IO9 or IOI or whatever it's called. And you would see all these people on these pods that were white. And whenever like a huge giant would knock out all these people in the fake world, you would see all these all their pods would turn red.
That I liked.
And they would all fall over like, ah!
I liked that.
And there was something really kinetic about that I thought was great. And
that, to me, was more effective than the people on the street who are all like punching and kicking and stuff.
Completely agree, because that didn't even make sense. Like, they're going to run into brick walls. They didn't have those like treadmills to walk on.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if Wade's big moment where he's like, fight with me and be willing to zero out or whatever, if that came after, I don't know, like tying in his emotional loss in the real world.
Yeah.
And make that something that he actually gets to respond to.
Yes.
In a real way. You know what I mean? I mean, this is maybe a bad analogy, but that should have been comparable to like when Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen die.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and you're making me realize, too, how brilliant that works, because we don't spend a lot of time with Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen.
No, but it's very effective.
When they pass. And and in this one, for some reason, the aunt and uncle were like super cartoonish.
Yes.
Which was odd. And I don't know if that was a defense so we wouldn't get too sad when they died, but maybe we should have?
Yeah, I mean, I think that in order to care about the Oasis, we have to care about its impact on the real world. That's what it comes down to for me.
Yeah.
And instead, to me, and maybe I'm just responding the wrong way, but to me, the Oasis is like happy fun time that everybody goes and hangs out with, but like mean old Dean Wormer is trying to like stop our fun.
Yeah.
And I think that the stakes needed to be heightened beyond, we're gonna like sell a bunch of advertising in the Oasis or whatever, like I get it because
right, yeah.
Because what Ben Mendelsohn says at some point is like, if we expose people to this much advertising, it'll like kill them, and we're ready to do that. Or so, like we get it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like it needed to mean more. It needed to mean more in terms of the Oasis is what's keeping Earth going or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So see, again, I sound like Debbie Downer, and I want to be very clear about this. I had a good time. I would expect anybody who watches it and goes in, as Brian said, kind of hoping to get ice cream for dinner. I don't think you'll be disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't, in my mind, measure up to the best popcorn movies that Spielberg has made. However,
No. I definitely not. That's why I wonder again, as someone who enjoyed myself, how much his heart was into this.
Yes,
I question. I would hope someday. He seems to be pretty protective of his mythology.
Yes.
So I would love though someday for him to talk about this experience. I'd be very curious about it.
Yeah, I think that if this was him sort of warming up for the next Indiana Jones, I don't mind that.
Oh, that would be really interesting, wouldn't it? If this is just some sort of like $200 million like cracking his knuckles.
Shaking the cobwebs loose, yeah.
Yeah.
Look, maybe this just speaks to me getting older, but if I'm being honest, of the two 2017 filmed Spielberg movies, I liked The Post better.
Sure. Oh, for sure. Well, it's certainly a more solid story.
But I think that says something about just me becoming an old man, right?
Yeah.
I think partially, I did find the cute the Zemeckis cube thing. I thought that was fun.
That was funny, yeah.
And of course, Alan Silvestri bringing in that little piece of the Back to the Future score was nice.
Yeah. I enjoyed hearing some old school. Silvestri feels like he's lost a little bit of his personality.
Yes.
And it was nice to hear it back.
Yes, I concur with that.
There was even a moment where Silvestri, in almost every score he's done, always has, when everything's getting tense, there's like a percussive like dun 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 dun, like kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And there was a moment in the movie where things were getting tense and Wade's running, and that was happening, and I found myself giddy, and I was like, "What is Silvestri?" So maybe that was it. It just delighted me in all the ways. It totally had my number.
Sure.
In so many ways that I was enjoying the things that it wanted me to enjoy. But you are absolutely correct. I mean, this could have been a classic.
Yes.
It could have been Roger Rabbit of the virtual reality world.
Yeah,
sadly, it was not that.
I saw a video on YouTube. I didn't watch it, but I just saw a title. Ready Player One, is it the new Roger Rabbit? And I said the answer is no.
Yeah.
I've saved myself 27 minutes or however long that video is.
Yeah.
It's funny because I was talking with somebody and they were like, but it's so awesome because, like, when are you ever going to see Battletoads and Spawn and like Gundam and all these Ninja Turtles are all together? And I'm like, yeah, but it's not them. It's people dressed up like them.
Sure.
Like this isn't Roger Rabbit just because of that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And seriously, are you going to tell me somebody has the chance to become a Ninja Turtle and they're going to be one of them Michael Bay monstrosities?
Right.
Come on now. Ready Player One.
Yeah.
The other thing I was wondering about was, like, in the Oasis, is it like you just, like, there's one of each thing? Like, so if one person's like, hey, my avatar is Spawn, like, does that mean Spawn is now off limits?
Well, I saw Batgirl in this movie like 80 times, so I'm
Oh, okay.
maybe if there's 80 Batgirls, I don't know.
That's really funny. I didn't see that.
But no, I do want to speak then real quick, I guess, to the challenges. I thought the race was really cool. It was really fun.
Yes,
I thought it was, when he had to go through it backwards, I enjoyed seeing it all over again and seeing the T-Rex from Jurassic Park and King Kong and all that. That was a blast. And then the Shining thing, man, I just, like, I don't know. Like, I almost felt like I was in a dream.
Yes, I agree.
It was repurposing something I knew and adding a new spin on it that was kind of weird and bizarre, but cool and fun. And
honestly, Brian, that sequence, which is about halfway through the movie, was unquestionably the highlight for me.
Yeah.
But to be honest, Spielberg felt the most, like, into it.
Yes.
Yeah,
there's like shot for shot matches to that movie,
amazing.
and that he was a big Kubrick fan, so
he's right. Exactly.
That was probably, maybe that was it. I mean, maybe this was just his chance to play in a sandbox. I don't know.
Well, and my understanding is that replaced a different sequence in the book.
Yes, the second one was. Oh, they had to. Those like text-based games where you're like, turn left, and then you watch a thing and you go through a house and you turn left and pick up key. They had to play one of those games as first person. And then the kid had to pass the Blade Runner replicant test.
Right. Okay, I did read that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can see why that wouldn't have necessarily made for great cinema.
Yeah, and then in the book, the first challenge, which I keep bringing up, that chaotic race. The first challenge was him literally at an arcade cabinet playing Joust.
Yes. One of my students told me that.
Yeah, so you can understand why they turned it into something completely more cinematic.
Well, that's why I keep saying I feel like the stuff that, whatever reason I liked it, is because of the influence Spielberg had.
Yeah.
You can easily imagine the Michael Bay version of this movie.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm not going to presume, but I'm going to predict that I would have liked that one probably substantially less, you know?
Yeah, and as long as I'm sort of geeking out on that stuff, because this is the place to do it. Like going back to that moment where Artemis is undercover playing in one of those pods trying to sabotage during, the big battle amongst all the bad guys. There's a part where Ben Mendelsohn is looking for her.
Yes.
And the camera is like following him, going from pod to pod, ripping off the helmets. And then the camera pulls back and reveals the distance that she is from him. And you're like, oh, crap. And he turns around and you think he's going to go all in one shot. And then a guy intervenes and pulls her out because she's been shot and rips her away from the villain. And I was like, oh, Spielberg. like that stuff. I mean, the tension, you know what I mean? Like instead of all these choppy cuts, like I'll never get tired of watching his tension. It's so good.
Yes.
But, in a movie that certainly, doesn't stand beside his better films.
Yes. I thought it was kind of interesting that T.J. Miller was in this. If only because he seems to be sort of getting frozen out of some stuff because of accusations against him. I was kind of surprised that they didn't just revoice him. I don't know how essential it was for T.J. Miller to voice that character.
Yeah, he's become a problematic figure for sure, and that's an understatement. And
yes.
I thought about that too because I had read that they hadn't, and you don't even see his face. He just voices a character, and not trying to justify it, just trying to ponder it in my mind. I was wondering because that character was unmistakably his personality.
Yes.
It would have changed very much if it was someone else, and I also wondered if a lot of the stuff he said was improvised. A lot of it felt like him, and I wondered if there was some sort of well, then you bring someone else to read all the stuff he made up, and not that wouldn't have been worth it, but I was just trying to ruminate in my head the decision.
Another question is Ben Mendelsohn's Avatar, is that like evil Superman?
I read that somewhere. I wasn't sure what that was. I thought he was Clark Kent, but
that's because he's wearing a suit. Right?
Yeah,
and I thought that was interesting. I mean, they didn't acknowledge it either way.
Yeah.
But he sure looked like Superman.
Yeah, he did. And then, of course, the kid Wade earlier was Christopher Reeve, Clark Kent. In one of his disguises.
Was. You're right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Wow,
Yeah.
I didn't think about that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's fun.
And I'm sure subsequent viewing, my kids are like up on my ass about watching this.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, I don't know if I want to take them to the theater to see it,
For what reason? You just don't want to see it again, or
I just don't feel like seeing it again so soon,
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I'll probably end up getting it on home vid at some point. The thing is, they play this game called Roblox, and it's all about this interactive environment where you create your own avatar and you create a whole existence in there. And I'm like, well, geez Louise, they're like little friggin' crackheads with this game anyway. So Ready Player One is basically that.
Right.
And I'm trying to get them out of that game as much as I can. So here's a movie where it's like, this is the coolest thing ever if you have a whole online life,
Yeah.
So that's not helpful.
Well, see, and I wonder, too, because the aesthetic of this movie definitely feels geared toward a younger audience, but all of the content is geared toward me. So, yes. I just wonder if there's at all a disconnect. I actually sat next to a guy who seemed significantly younger than me, and he seemed to be having a good time. But I was just wondering, has his kid seen The Shining?
I think that we're at a point now in our cultural evolution where pop culture is sort of eating its own tail. And it's just everyone knows everything because it's all there's certain just evergreen touchstones. I
wondered that too, and I wondered what those are. When I see teenagers wearing Nirvana shirts, which is... I'm like, oh, interesting. But then again, when we were kids, there were the kids wearing Led Zeppelin shirts.
Right.
But yeah, some stuff just I guess like you say, some stuff are evergreen.
Yeah. People know the DeLorean even if they haven't seen the movie. The Shining, I don't know. But if people are moved to seek out The Shining after this movie, I'd file that in the win column.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. That's a good point. And then it's funny too. This is how baiting this movie was for me. The part where Wade was talking to Ben Mendelsohn and he was mentioning the school, the John Hughes School, and he listed the school from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I was like, it's Shermer, you idiot! And then when I found out, he's being fed the info, I was like, oh, right.
That's really funny.
This is all the crap that's filed away in my brain, being named.
It's all very useful. You are Wade. That's what that's what we're learning.
Yeah.
Well, any last thoughts on Ready Player One?
No, just that I completely understand how you feel, and the people who didn't enjoy it, I'm like, totally get that. I would be interested to see it a second time and see if I enjoy it and can sit through it a second time, or if I would just be looking at the edges, seeing what I missed. But I definitely felt like I went on a roller coaster I had a lot of fun with. Completely acknowledging that its content did not add up to a lot.
There you go. So I would agree. I think it doesn't necessarily add up to a lot, but it's not a terrible way to spend a couple hours in the theater. Yeah, I mean, that's it.
Yeah, it's a meal dish filled with catnip, for better for worse.
There you go. I think that's a good place to leave it. So I think we're good with this discussion. I am very curious to hear what all of y'all out there in listener land thought of Ready Player One. So please hit us up. You can email us at moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com or send us a message at facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast after you hit like on our page, of course. Also, as I ask each and every episode, please go to iTunes and leave a review. Leave a star rating. Every little bit helps. And Brian, what do you have going on right now that you want people to know about?
I'm working on a show called Puppy Dog Pals, which is on Disney and Disney Junior, and it's a show about two dogs that go on adventures. So if you have young kids or that sounds like something you might enjoy, I say check it out. I think you'll dig it.
There you go. And if you're looking for me online, you can find me at my website, ZackisCorner.com. That's ZAKIS Corner. That's also my Twitter, just lose the .com. I'm also on Instagram and various other places, so if you're seeking me, you will find me. Coming up in the next few weeks, we've got Rampage, the movie that it's The Rock versus a monkey.
It's probably I'm already predicting I'm going to sound like you during this discussion for that one.
Possibly, yeah. I have to admit, I'm not excited, but I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Because that's, you know what though, Brian, you know what? It's like, I feel like that, I know what I'm getting.
Yeah, oh, like, sure.
The bar has already been set, and it's not a particularly high bar, but, I don't expect the movie to hurdle that bar, but, if it meets it, I'll be happy. And what do I want to see? I want to see The Rock fighting a giant monkey. Come on.
Yeah. That sentence just made me really happy. I want to see The Rock fighting a giant monkey. Come on.
Is that so wrong? I ask you.
No, it's not.
So that will be coming up in our next episode. Plus, we have a couple of interesting commentary tracks planned for the course of the summer, and hopefully the first one of those will drop before too long, so that's something to look forward to. Also, on the Movie Film Show, my interview with Brian Baer about He-Man and the Masters of the Universe is up, as is my commentary track on Star Trek V, The Final Frontier, with my friend Glenn Greenberg. So some fun Nostalgia Theater episodes for you to check out as well.
Yeah, and I just want to say, I have never even seen Star Trek V, and I gobbled that thing up. It went by so fast, and just if you're interested, Zachy is such a resource of knowledge, and then Glenn Greenberg also, who's your co-host on that. I just had fun listening to two knowledgeable guys talk about a film and its history and the filmmaking that, behind the scenes that went into that movie. And I found it very interesting, even as someone who hasn't seen it. So I definitely recommend it.
That's high praise, and hopefully if you are listening to this, you'll be moved to follow Brian's lead and check out those commentaries. I'm pretty happy with how they've turned out, although I have not listened to them, so that's something that I need to do. I've got one more coming up with Glenn, movie number 6, and that is TBD, but hopefully soon. But I will be continuing on past the original series movies. I'll be doing The Next Generation with my co-host from Discovery Debrief, Chris Clow. So the Star Trek commentaries will be continuing. And with that, that is episode 144 of Movie Film. We'll be back soon. Thanks for listening.
Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zachy and